Welcome back, guys. I'm going to do a bit of a freewheeling video here that's not content based, but more of something that I'm seeing ever since being on a particular platform.
And here we go.
Called Reddit. You're probably aware of it. Now, Reddit is it's got good intentions as a platform, right? It's a place to ask for feedback, share thoughts, being a non-judgmental society, you could call it, because a lot of people don't have to show their real name, their real profile. So you can ask quite deep, sensitive questions, you can look for insight, you can get support, yada yada, you get the idea.
Yeah, that sounds nice, Lloyd.
Now, it has one major flaw with it, right? And it's in a lot of the fitness communities, unfortunately. And it's rate my physique, or feedback, what do I need to work on, what goals should I do, should I bulk, should I cut? And there'll be some examples that I'll fire up on the screen through this video of just some of the wild things that come up.
Fucking diabolical.
Now, yes, I totally understand people seeking help and advice, and it comes with its own risks, because people that are going to go onto a platform and ask a stranger, should I bulk, should I cut? Am I fat? What should I do next? You're getting literally a fucking shit sandwich made of randomers' opinions and thoughts that unfortunately may completely conflict with what you actually want to do, but you'd rather seek appeasement through asking strangers online their thoughts and their opinions. Now, if you are somebody that is wanting to improve your health and fitness, or is, you've been on it for a while and you want to continue making progress or know which way to do it, the most important person that you need to satisfy is yourself, in terms of what is your goal? What actually do you want to achieve? What use is it saying, should I bulk or cut? And let's say you think, I'd like to put a bit more size on, or I'd like to cut. Let's say it's one or the other. And then you get so many conflicting ideas from other strangers on the internet that sometimes are just saying absolutely wild comments.
Carlos, your name?
No. Say it again. Say what you said.
Carl.
Or just hammering people about the way they look. And is that going to do you any good? No. Not at all. It's just not going to do you any good whatsoever. You need to have a goal, and if you want to cut, you cut. If you want to bulk, you bulk. Like, it's as simple as that. The one point I will add here, if you are interested, please get a pen and pad for this. If you are interested in getting support, work with a good coach, because a coach is going to be able to give you the tools of you saying, I want to bulk, and the coach can say, okay, this is what we do to bulk, this is the plan moving forward. What foods do you enjoy? What foods are you missing? Let's look at the nutritional profile, let's look at your training, how are you partitioning through the week. That's what a coach is there for. They give you a blueprint to help you get goals to reach them quicker, ideally. When you ask 1,000 people, or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in these communities, and let's say you get 100 comments, there'll be 100, maybe some agree, differing things to do. That's very confusing. And that is then paralysis by analysis. You are trying to make sense of this, like, absolute fucking pie of whatever it is that's come together, and going, well, I'm no better off than when I first started. So you should focus on, what do you want to do, right? That's not hammering Reddit, it's just hammering the forums that allow those kind of pictures to go in, because I think it's very damaging to people. Because, again, let's say you upload a progress picture and all you get is hate, because the internet's full of a lot of very fragile people that get a kick out of bringing other people down for their own, in some sort of way. It makes them feel better about themselves when potentially they are in a pretty miserable situation themselves. That's how the internet works, unfortunately. It made very scared people feel brave and give them a platform to basically just talk shit to people. So again, that's another risk that comes with it when you're asking for you're asking for advice, not unsolicited, but you're asking for advice from people that could have wildly different views to yours. And
Never start with the head. The victim gets all fuzzy. He can't feel the neck.
And this comes on to the other point that I want to make. Couldn't get my words out then. That somebody's ideation in their mind, in my mind, the idea of strength and a good physique could be completely different to somebody else's. And that's the problem. You then start working to their standards. And I probably did mention this earlier, but there's a very warped sense that on them platforms, and I've experienced this myself, when I've given advice out, I'm a relatively lean, athletic guy. That's how I am. I have no interest in being a bodybuilder, right? But I get people that will pass comments on anything that I say or my videos and say, I don't need to take advice from someone that's bigger. I mean, that's the stupidest comment from the get-go, because you perceive someone's quality in a space by purely their size. I have seen some of the world's best athletes that are relatively small people, and Andy Strong's one of them. There's a new kid in calisthenics who's like 15 years old. He's doing like one-arm planche press-ups, insane strength. You've got gymnasts. Yes, big guys look impressive. That's fine. But me being 5'8", what is the point in me being 5'8" wide?
He's a grandiose prick, but he has a point.
There's just no point. I want to be able to have a quality and be an athlete. I've no interest myself in being a walking, basically a living version of a fridge freezer and being like carpet syndrome walking around.
Steroids.
That's not my game. It's not what interests me. If it interests you guys, that's fine. It just doesn't interest me. And this is where I'm coming from when people say, I wouldn't take feedback from someone like myself because I'm not bigger or I'm not jacked like a bodybuilder. That's precisely the point. I'm not trying to be. So this is where I'm quite comfortable with someone saying it to me, and that doesn't bother me, but I'm making it as a point for other people here that when you take randomers' opinions of what their perception is of what you need to do, it can drastically warp and make you feel really inadequate and give you the wrong idea of things to follow and do. So utilize really good support networks as your coach. By all means, consult your friends and your family. First off, I think is a good starting point, but the most important person to appease is yourself. If you've got any goals, they're the goals that you must follow, right? And then you work with a coach who helps you to craft and build a plan to reach those goals in a much more efficient and quicker way. Don't beat yourself up chasing vanity metrics for likes and comments on social media platforms. I'm sure it must get a right good kick for people in an ego when they're seeing hundreds of upvotes on it or likes and comments, and it feeds that dopaminergic response that we like. However, once you start dangling that carrot, you then constantly want to keep chasing it and chasing it and chasing it, and it can just lead into deep water quite quickly. And again, if you're never happy yourself with what you're doing and what your goals are and what you're aiming to achieve, maybe it's time to have a sit down with yourself and think, okay, what do I want to do, and not just be people pleasing, essentially. So it's a very quick way to be miserable. I'll be honest with you, don't people please, don't do it. Just, Reddit is a wild place, and I'm on there. I try and give relatively not my own advice. I try to give impartial advice, and I'll always respond to those threads and say, regardless of what anyone else is telling you, what do you want to do? And I've had flack from people in comments saying,
"Hey, douche pool,"
And I hope
to me, "Oh, well, he's only asking for advice, blah, blah." Yeah, but when you read the comments, the advice is fucking conflicting. It's everything goes against somebody else, and that's the problem. What are they meant to listen to? And if they're not happy themselves, then that's what they need to work on. Work on you. Get your concrete goals set in. And me personally, I'm just coming at it from my personal opinion here. What worked for me was I ditched wanting to look a certain way, and I started chasing performance goals. I wanted to improve, my calisthenics skills. I wanted to improve my power to weight ratio, from my squat, my deadlift, relevant to my current body weight. That was what I wanted to improve, right? Yes, there's a ceiling height with that, but that's fine. I wanted to improve my jump height for the tricking and gymnastics that I've got into the tumbling. That's the thing. That gives me a reason to keep going. I'm not chasing this vanity of I need to look a certain way or hit a body fat percentage. I'm training for the enjoyment of performance and being able to do something that I enjoy doing and do it to a relatively good standard that I enjoy, right? It's pretty simple, but if it helps any of you guys to think of a different way of approaching not needing to look like a bodybuilder, if your dream is never to step on stage in your budgie smugglers and be one. Why are you chasing that as a goal if that isn't your aim, right? Is like bro splits and bodybuilder formats, if that is not your game and you don't want to pursue it, don't do it. Don't do it. You can get just as strong and in just good condition and still make amazing progress doing a completely different format. And just because it may look good for social media doesn't mean it's actually good for you or good for the goals and the desires that you actually have. So you've got one life, live it to your own standards, set goals that you want to hit and achieve, and don't just chase other people's opinions and validation metrics or vanity metrics online. Life is more important than that. Simple, bosh. If you like everything we shared, or if you've experienced the wild side of Reddit, I'd love to hear it down in the comments. And if you haven't already, do like, do subscribe. It'd be great if you did. And we'll see you on the next video. Bosh.